Let's start with something you've probably never allowed yourself to hear fully. You're not broken, you're just worn down. Not by life itself, but by the weight of constantly trying to hold together something that was never fully in your hands. You showed up with your heart open, ready to communicate, compromise, grow. You were consistent. You forgave when you shouldn't have, explained when you didn't need to, and waited longer than anyone ever should. And what did you get in return? Silence, games, confusion, emotional withdrawal masked as mood swings, detachment disguised as space. You kept trying to fix a relationship where you were the only one doing the actual work. But the truth is, you're not stuck because she left. You're stuck because somewhere along the line, in all your effort to keep her, you lost parts of yourself. You stopped speaking your mind to avoid arguments. You lowered your standards just to keep her attention. You made yourself small, hoping she'd feel safe enough to love you back fully. But here's the reality: love isn't meant to make you shrink. It's supposed to expand you, grow you, strengthen you. If you had to sacrifice your self-worth to maintain the bond, then it wasn't a relationship, it was emotional survival. And now, the moment has come to shift. To detach, not just from her, but from the chaos she brought into your world. You don't have to hate her, you don't have to become bitter. You just need clarity. You need power. You need masculine grace. The kind of strength that doesn't shout, doesn't chase, doesn't crumble. The kind of strength that walks away, with calm eyes and a steady heart. Knowing it's no longer about losing hurts, about choosing you. If she drains you, she doesn't deserve you. It's really that simple. Love is supposed to feel like a safe place, not a battlefield. If every time you talk to her, you leave the conversation feeling confused, mentally exhausted, or emotionally depleted, that's not love, that's imbalance. And you've been living in that imbalance for too long, convincing yourself that the rare moments she's soft or affectionate are the real her. You cling to those brief glimpses of warmth like they mean everything. But ask yourself honestly, those good moments only happen 10% of the time. Why are you tolerating the other 90% that feels like emotional warfare? You're not being loved, you're being tolerated, manipulated, and used as an emotional energy source. And love shouldn't feel like that. It shouldn't make you doubt yourself or constantly question your worth. It shouldn't have you chasing validation, walking on eggshells, or analyzing every text message like it's a puzzle. Love should feel like home, like exhale, like peace. If instead it feels like confusion and chaos, you're in the wrong place. And I know letting go is hard. I know your mind tells you that if you just hold on a little longer, she returned to who she used to be. But people show you who they are and how they treat you consistently. One good day doesn't erase weeks of emotional distance. One smile doesn't fix all the silence. If being with her is slowly killing your peace, then that relationship is no longer about connection, it's about survival. And you weren't born to survive love. You were born to thrive in it. Stop trying to make her see your value. Start recognizing that her inability to love you properly says more about her than it ever will about you. She's not confused. She's comfortable. Comfortable with your consistency, your patience, your loyalty. Comfortable knowing that no matter how she behaves, how long she takes to respond, how emotionally distant she becomes, how many games she plays, you'll still be there. She knows she can offer you breadcrumbs, and you'll still show up hungry for more. That's not confusion on her part. That's control. Maybe not malicious, but definitely calculated. The delayed replies, the sudden coldness, the mixed signals that leave you guessing, those aren't signs of someone struggling to make up their mind. Those are signs of someone who's already made a choice to keep you close enough to benefit from your presence, but distant enough to avoid real accountability. And every time you excuse it, justify it, or chase after her clarity, you reinforce the belief that she can keep playing this game without consequences. But here's the hard truth: you're not confused either. Deep down, you know this isn't love. You know she's not uncertain. You're just hoping that if you hold on a little longer, she'll wake up and choose you fully. But waiting on someone who isn't invested only robs you of the time you could be using to reclaim your self-worth. The real power move isn't begging her to see your value, it's walking away like you already know it. With silence. With finality. With no long explanation. Just an unshakable goodbye. Let her sit in the silence she created. Let her face the absence of your energy, because the moment you stop playing her game is the moment she realizes you're not one of her options, you were the prize all along. And she lost you by mistaking your patience for weakness. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. You can't rebuild your self-worth while still lying next to the person who keeps tearing it down. No matter how much you want it to work, no matter how many times you tell yourself she'll change, deep down, you know the truth. She's not your piece, she's your pattern. A destructive one. You've gotten used to the cycle of pain, apology, hope, and disappointment. It's become familiar. And that familiarity tricks you into thinking it's love. But love doesn't wound you over and over again and then call it growth. You can't put yourself back together while you're still giving her the tools to break you. Every time you convince yourself to stay, you trade another piece of your dignity for a temporary fix. And those small moments of warmth you crave, they're the same ones keeping you stuck in an endless loop of false hope. You tell yourself it just needs time, but time doesn't heal what repetition keeps reopening. Healing begins when you choose yourself over the habit of trying to fix someone else, when you realize that walking away isn't the loss, it's the breakthrough. Staying in pain for the sake of loyalty isn't noble, it's self-neglect. You're not betraying her by leaving. You're finally being loyal to yourself. She had her chance to be your peace, and she chose to be your lesson. You don't have to hate her, you just have to outgrow her. Because the real healing, it starts when you no longer crave the chaos you once called love. And when you finally let go of what hurt you, you create space for something better, something that builds instead of breaks, something that brings peace instead of pain. Your value is not something that needs to be proven, it's something that should be recognized without effort. Every time you find yourself trying to prove your worth to a woman who treats you like you're replaceable, you slowly forget your own power. You start chasing validation, adjusting your behavior, overgiving, and suppressing your truth just to keep her interested. And the more you do that, the more she starts believing that her attention is something you have to earn. That's where you lose yourself. Because a high-value man doesn't operate from a place of needing to convince anyone of who he is. He walks in certainty. He speaks with quiet strength. He doesn't beg for love, he embodies it. If she can't see your worth while you're being consistent, loyal, emotionally available, and honest, then her vision is the problem, not your value. The moment you stop trying to be enough for someone who's never satisfied is the moment you begin to reclaim your dignity. You don't need to yell. You don't need to explain. You just need to remove yourself with no dramatics, no warnings, no bitterness. Because silence isn't just absence power, it forces her to reflect. It forces her to feel the weight of your absence. And in that stillness, she realizes what she took for granted. Your energy, your presence, your love. Let her sit with that. Let her miss what she thought would always be there. You don't need to convince her of anything. Just show her, through your distance, that a man who knows his worth doesn't fight to stay where he's not valued. He simply leaves. And when he leaves in full, never looking back, because his peace is no longer up for negotiation.